Hey everyone, thank you for joining us for our first We Think Code community podcast. I'm really excited that we get an opportunity to chat with the community about all things We Think Code, about all things tech, and all things life after We Think Code. My name is Setu, and today I'm joined by three guests representing each of our campuses, and I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. We can start with Joe Berg. Please just let us know what your name is, what year you're in, and whether you did your bootcamp, virtual or in person.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Austin Baloy. I did my bootcamp virtually for Joburg campus.
All right, thank you. And Cape Town, our second campus, let us know what your name is, what year you're in, and whether you did your bootcamp virtually or on site.
Right. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. My name is Zizi Popusakwe, and I'm in the Cape Town campus, as Setu mentioned. So I did my bootcamp on campus, and I'm currently in first year, so 2021 cohort. Looking forward to sharing my experience and to getting everyone excited about joining.
Awesome. Thank you, Zizipo. And lastly, Durban, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm cohort 2021, and I'm from the Durban campus, as Setu has mentioned.
So firstly, thank you, everybody, for joining us in this session. We're really excited to have all of your opinions shared and all of your insights shared in this session. So without further ado, please just take us back to when you were at bootcamp and what was going through your mind at that time as you were preparing? Where were you at? Just take us back to that place. Zizipo, do you want to start us off?
Yes, I'm happy to go first. So Setu, bootcamp was a very enjoyable process for me. I'm not going to lie. It was a very almost like affirming experience. I felt like I belonged at We Think Code, and I was like, I have to come back here. So everybody was very welcoming. There was very clear communications. The expectations were set. I was in a good space mentally. So I was kind of, even though the experience was quite grueling in the sense that you have to show up every day and you have to deliver every day, you have to be socially engaged every day. I think I handled that process quite well, and I really enjoyed it. But I think it's important for me to say that was because of the work I did on myself prior to joining bootcamp. Maybe we'll get an opportunity to get into that, but I did go through a phase during the application part and the preparation for bootcamp where I was feeling very self-doubt, not wondering am I really reaching too high? Do I really have what it takes to get into this tech thing? So I did go through a whole lot of that, and I kind of worked through it prior to bootcamp. So I think that's a big part of why I was able to really enjoy bootcamp so much, even though I can acknowledge that it's quite a taxing and demanding, not taxing, but it's quite a challenging, really engaging experience. So yeah, hopefully as the conversation goes by, we can get into the prep and, all that stuff.
That's great. Thank you, Zizipo. I don't think a lot of people realize how holistic the preparation for a bootcamp needs to be. A lot of people just focus on the tech aspects and all of that. What about you, Austin? You joined bootcamp virtually. Take us through what you were how you felt approaching virtual bootcamp at the time.
The process was a bit challenging. I think for me it was more of I was trying to prepare because I was coming back for my second bootcamp, so I was trying to prepare with that mentality in mind, and I was trying to be so code focused. And when you get there, you realize okay, yeah, no, you actually don't have to. You don't have to be that code focused. So the preparation was. I had no idea we were doing Python. I found out on the day of bootcamp, and I had no idea what Python is. But I think with the material that they did give us, you kind of just you get okay. Mentally, I had to push myself. I wasn't really in a good space. Zizipo, I really was not in a good space. But because I wanted to come back so much, I really had to push myself. And, being on every day, and because it was virtually, you don't necessarily have to be on campus. You don't have to be on campus, but it was the participation that we're looking at. So you wake up at pretty much the same time as people who go to campus. You're on Slack, you're there, you're active, you're doing your challenges, everything, and it was quite a lot, more unexpected things than I could have anticipated. But I think because of that will to say I want to be here, I want to see myself here. This is a place that I really I'd love to be in. I think that was what kept me focused, kept me relaxed, and just kept me pushing all through.
All right. I just want to take it back a step. You mentioned that it wasn't really coding focused. Break down what you mean by that, because obviously We Think Code is a coding academy and Python is a coding language. So there are very technical aspects to it. I just want to understand from your perspective, what do you mean by that?
I think one of the mistakes that we tend to make during Bootcamp is the thing that we just have to know how to code. And you forget that it's a peer-to-peer environment. You forget that you're interacting with a lot of people on a daily basis, whether be it virtually or be it physically. I mean, you do it virtually and you ask a question on Slack and people are there to help you. Everyone is there like, oh, you do this. And I think that's so important, having the ability to communicate, having the ability to merge with other people and be in a space around other people, knowing how to talk to people, how to ask for help, how to give help. Those are the kind of aspects that you don't necessarily have to be coding focused to have. Those are some of the aspects that, you cannot know how to code entirely. But if you know how to talk to people, you know how to ask for help, you will learn very fast. So as much as it is a coding academy, there's so many aspects that are not coding focused that help you push through it. So that's one of the things that, I had to be like, okay, I have to stop focusing on this coding thing so much and trying to be the best at this and just be able to talk to people, just be able to ask for help. And it was honestly fulfilling because I made it through, so that peer-to-peer thing is one of the most important things, because knowing how to code but still not knowing how to talk to people is going to make it difficult for you when you do need help.
Right. Thank you, Austin. I'm just going to pause and give Bonga an opportunity to introduce himself. So Bonga is joining us from Joburg. Bonga, quickly introduce yourself. Okay. Let us know what your name is, what year you're in, and which bootcamp did you join?
Okay. My name is Bonga Mpenzi, and I'm part of the JHB campus and core 2021 and bootcamp experience.
Yeah. Did you join virtually or on site?
I joined physically, and the experience was great. I don't think I would have coped virtually because I got a lot of help from a lot of people, and that helped me push through. And just to emphasize on Austin's point, my preparation was also not code-based. My preparation was anything but code. I focused more on logic and how to coherently put my ideas. I also focused more on the physics approach of the fundamental truths, boiling something down to the most basic things and then solving the problem from there. So one thing I focused on the most was problem solving and logic and not necessarily code. And that helped me cope a lot during bootcamp.
But that's also quite interesting because I know in the chats we had prior to the session, you mentioned that was your second bootcamp that you did, that you've done bootcamp with We Think Code before. Yeah. And you had to come back again because you didn't make it through the first time around. Do you think that influenced how you prepared?
Yeah, it certainly did, because the second time around, at least I know what to expect, because the first time I came, I didn't know what to expect. Yeah. But because the first bootcamp I'd taken was very intense, so I knew that this time around I had to be prepared. Right. So I just took the time to understand a few concepts, and then learned how to actually solve problems. Because coding, I learned, is most basically just solving problems. It doesn't matter the language you actually use to solve the problems. When you know how to solve a problem, coding itself becomes an easier process. But if you have a problem with breaking a problem down into the smallest steps, then you're going to have a problem with coding.
Wow, that's really insightful.
I'd like to just touch up on this point about that whole because I also did. I think him and I were in the first boot camp together, if I can recall, and the C1. So all through the year, if I focus on coding so much, I would have focused on C a lot. And as Bonga said, it's a problem-solving thing. Once you know how to break down the problem to the ground, everything else is just syntax. So, you don't want to focus on the coding aspect so much, because syntax you can always learn. Syntax changes, but if you know how to break down a problem, as he said, it becomes so much easier to say, okay, I know what I want to use. How do I just use it? And then you find out and you use it, as opposed to learning C or learning this Python, and then you get to another thing and you don't really know how to solve a problem. It becomes difficult. Now you have to learn a whole new language to be able to solve a problem, as opposed to just finding the syntax you need.
So problem solving, you all agree, is like the basics of preparing for boot camp.
I think what we're saying when we say that the main focus is not code, we don't really mean that we think it's not about code, or that the boot camp is not centered around code, but it's like the thing of, you have to be the kind of person who can succeed at within code. And at within code, we solve problems and we build things using code. So maybe what kind of a person succeeds? A person who's emotionally and mentally, where you can ground and manage your emotions, and where you can learn. So I think if you're incredibly nervous, or you give up very easily, or you haven't built up your grit, then you won't be able to keep up with the learning, or you won't be able to keep up with the deliverables and the commitments. So it's like, get yourself to a point where you can learn whatever you need to learn, and you can solve a problem. And then it won't matter which problems you get given or which language you get given, because you are ready to learn and you're ready to solve problems. I think that's what we mean. But we're not trying to imply that the central thing and the main thing is not code, and that or that it's not important to learn some code in your preparation process.
Yes, of course. Coding is the technical part is the major part of the entire bootcamp. You are being tested on your technical abilities. But I think what was mentioned across the board is that there are a lot of things that kind of help you to prime yourself to be able to perform technically, right? So whether that's like an emotional, mental preparation, in addition to, understanding the basic technical fundamentals, it really helps to sort of get you in the position to really succeed at boot camp. So that's what I'm picking up across the board. So Pilila, I just want to go back to you and get your boot camp story.
Okay, so with me, I did my boot camp on campus. Okay, the thing is, firstly, I didn't think that I would actually get in, and I didn't think that I'd actually make it to even the boot camp, because I just thought like, oh wow, this thing it's just too good to be true. And then the first day, I missed my first day of boot camp, and I had to communicate with those volunteer staff and stuff, just to check, what's going on, where they at. Oh, but the initial reason why I didn't go to for my first day is that the place they had changed the place because they had a problem with the other one. So they had to change it, and then the address was just a different one. So I couldn't find them at where I initially were. So I missed my first day, and I had to communicate with everyone. The second day was really terrifying because I got there, people knew everyone, people were all over like competing. They were like, okay, I'm in chapter 2 now, I'm doing this now, and the fact that I don't know what's going on and I'm late, I just like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna try and adapt. But overall, my experience was great because when I got there, people were very helpful, people were amazing. And I think I was able to catch up with this peer-to-peer thing because like whenever you get to ask for help and whatnot, get help from anyone, literally anyone. And it was just amazing because I felt intimidated when I got there. I was like, oh wow, I'm like the new girl in the place, and I don't know anyone, I don't know the work, and most importantly, because I didn't prepare for this whole bootcamp thing. Well, I guess I did prepare mentally because I told myself, okay, if I do get in, I'm gonna push myself. I'm told myself that, okay, you know what, I'm gonna try and do this thing and try and get to the end of it. But technically, I honestly, I did not prepare myself. But although I do wish that I did, because I feel like it would have helped me even now. I would know the most concepts, and I would know, maybe I'd probably be better at like problem solving. But yeah, I'm getting there.
So in terms of the technical preparation for boot camp, let's talk about what you did specifically to kind of get a grasp of coding, and also just letting us know what was your coding experience prior to boot camp. What was your exposure to code?
Okay. So with me, I did IT in grade 11 and metric. So it was just really basic because in high school we just doing it. Well, I feel like I did it just to get through the module, what is it, subject, and then get through it and pass, because I didn't really focus much on it, although I did really enjoy it. But I did get a bit of like basic programming experience in high school. And I did want to continue, but then results and whatnot. And the technical part, I honestly, I don't know what to say on that point, because prior to the bootcamp, I wasn't doing anything that has to do with programming. It was something totally different. So in a way, it has been like 5-6 years without really like doing anything that has to do with programming. And what I did before, it was just basics. Yeah.
Do you think that contributed at all to your ability to miss day one and still push through to the other days?
I'm so surprised to the fact that I did make it through, and I'm here now, and I'm still pushing, because it's really tough. I would say that it did kind of quite help me, because in a way, I kind of knew, or like had an idea of how difficult or how challenging programming can be, So I think I did kind of have an idea that it will get like really tough. It will get really tough, but I mean, let's keep pushing, because it's something that I feel like I was telling myself that I want to do this after my thing, because I was still studying before I actually got to Within Code. So I was like, I still want to do programming or like take through courses or whatnot. So I think it's something mentally it was there, and I know that it is very challenging industry.
Right. Well, in terms of your technical preparation, what are some of the things that you did? I know you focus a lot on problem solving, but were there any resources and things that you did to just get familiar with coding?
Yeah, most definitely. I think the resources that we think Code provided us were very helpful, but in particular, I only used one book, which was Automating the Boring Stuff with Python. I didn't actually do it practically, but I was just reading through the book. So I think that book was very amazing, because I didn't struggle with anything during bootcamp except for the group project. Yeah, that was it. Otherwise, the book Automate the Boring Stuff with Python actually got me through entire basics without even having to code at home, just reading the book and understanding how things are supposed to work with Python. And then when I got here, things were actually a lot more simplified, and I could actually implement the things that I was reading about on the book during the time when I was preparing. Because remember that the bootcamp was postponed because of the COVID-19. Yeah, so we had a lot more time to prepare. So I think I read about 200 pages of the book. So yeah, it helped me a lot.
And besides, your prior attempt at bootcamp, had you had any experience with coding and programming before?
Nothing. I had a friend, he always coded in front of me.
Mhm.
I'd watch him, like, yeah.
That counts, right?
It counts for something.
Exposure.
Yeah, it is. It is good. Most of the time when he runs into a problem, he like kind of sort of run it through me and then solve it while he was telling me, like, oh no, I figured it out. So I'd gotten used to at least some of the basic concepts, but just, yeah.
Awesome. Austin, what about you? Prior experience with coding before encountering We Think Code?
Yes, I did I did do IT through high school. Yeah, like, oh, is it Peli? So I'm sorry if I got the name wrong. Yeah, Pili. So like I kind of wasn't focused. I really wasn't focused, and there were a lot of things that, because I think for me it was more of the teaching style. So a lot of things just didn't sink in. Like you just there, you writing programs like, yeah, okay, this is this. But it did help me with aspects to kind of knowing the fundamentals of saying, okay, if I want to solve a problem, okay, I want to use an if statement. What does an if statement do? Those kind of things, they did help in grasping those things and knowing what they do. But yeah, no, I don't think that affected much, because even now I can't even tell you how much we did and whatnot. So it didn't really affect much. And yeah, once you get to it in code, it's a whole different ballgame. You just look at it like, okay, yeah, this is definitely how they taught, not how they taught me. So, I did have some experience, helped a bit with basics and, with the problem solving. But yeah, other than that, it wasn't much to it. I won't lie.
But also, I think for you, I just want to jump in and say that you probably had a bit of an additional preparation to do, just because you were also joining virtually. What did you do to sort of make sure that you could participate virtually?
First thing, time management. Time management was that had to be the top priority.
Yeah.
I remember I was home and I had to tell everyone that, okay, from this time to 6 p.m. do not disturb me. Do not walk into my room. And I had to be so focused. I had to literally cut that time and say, this is time to work. Then after 6, I can clock out, fine. But time management and having one of the things that you do need to prepare with is having stable internet connection to keep, doing, like, especially when you're doing it virtually, you want to have that stable internet connection. You want to have a PC that is not going to die on you any moment, but time management was the biggest factor. Having to split learning Python and completing the project in Python in 1 week, yeah, that was that was a bit tough. So time management was one of the biggest issues. And I think that when it started, I just dropped the mentality that learn the language. No, I dropped it. I said, okay, problem solve. Let's just solve the problem we have at hand. There's Google. I'm allowed to use Google. I can search whatever I need to use. That's fine. So yeah, so time management was my biggest strength out of all of that. Being able to focus on a screen the whole day with no disturbances, quiet place. That was really a lot of help for me.
Okay, cool. And Zizipo, did you have any exposure to coding prior to We Think Code?
No, I didn't. Well, I didn't have any exposure prior to starting preparing for bootcamp. So yeah, the answer is no. I just, when I figured out that I'm interested in building, stuff that's helpful to myself and to people, I started looking up which programs, and I figured out Python, and then I decided I'm going to learn through Within Code. So that was my beginning of kind of learning tech in preparation for Within Code. The resource that I used that was very helpful for me was like a 6-hour-long tutorial by Mosh Hamedani that I found on YouTube. So it's like he's introducing you to the basic concepts of programming through the lens of the Python language, and it's like a code along. So for me, that's literally all I did. That 6 hours. I didn't sit at once and do the whole 6 hours, but like I'd take like 30 minutes to an hour a day and just code along. So that literally for me was all the preparation that I did in terms of like Python. I think it was very helpful because when I actually got to bootcamp, even though bootcamp like assumes that you have never touched code, so everything is introduced from scratch. So for me, I feel like even if I hadn't done that course that I did, I would just still been able to, understand the concepts. But having done that course helped me because now my mind was primed. I had been introduced to the concepts before, so I was able to move through the material quicker. And I think that really helped a lot in terms of sticking to the deadlines. I do think that had I not done that course, it might have taken me longer to wrap my head around the concepts on time to be able to understand enough to solve problems, to submit assignments, and to write an exam.
Right.
Yeah. So that was like my prep.
And just in terms of, and the floor is open now, like in terms of you looking back at your bootcamp time, is there anything that you would have done differently that you feel like could have, I mean, you guys made it through. I mean, so whatever you did worked, but is there anything that you would have done differently to sort of better position yourself to cope during bootcamp, to sort of get through the material, to sort of grasp, the concepts a bit easier?
I think for me, I just would have trusted myself more because I feel like I really stressed out myself for nothing. And I actually almost did not apply. I almost postponed applying for another year. And that was so unnecessary. So I think for me, I'd say that I would have trusted myself more. And also like if people are feeling a bit scared or intimidated, just don't take that as a sign that you shouldn't go ahead and apply. Because once you actually take the first step and apply, I think you build the confidence as you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, for me as well, I wish I did actually believe in myself and not feel like I don't fit in this whole thing within code and it's just too much. Because I do have a friend who tried applying numerous times and he didn't make it. So I was like, if he doesn't make it, like, I mean, who am I? So I had that mindset before I actually even accepted the bootcamp. And I wish I did that differently. And also, I honestly do wish that I had prepped before I actually went to bootcamp, because I feel like maybe I would have it would have gave me a better foundation, in terms of the concepts, problem solving, getting the logic and things like that. Focus on YouTube, because now that I realize now there's literally everything on Google. Like you go Google, you search a solution, a question or something, and you get it. So initially, if I had maybe went on YouTube, watch videos, went on SolarLearn and all those other websites, I would have been much more better at this point. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel the same, Pilile. I feel like I could have prepared more, because when it came to the group project, like that's when I felt like, damn, I needed to prepare for this, because there were some concepts that were a bit more advanced than what I was used to. So I really struggled a lot with my section of the group project. So if there was like, anything I could do different, it would be like to prepare more and to do like some coding exercises, because we think code already provides those with the resources. So it's just going through those resources and actually making sure that you do come here prepared, because that's the reason why the resources were provided, because they knew that we would need them at the end. So yeah, I would just prepare more so that, that's what I'd do differently.
What about you, Austin?
I think for me, it might be a bit different. I think the preparation that I needed was maybe in the first one. In the second one, I think I just had everything jotted down. I think for me, it was more of a, okay, this is what you learned, right? Do not panic, okay? Right? I'm not gonna panic. You might not know this, what you're doing, or you've never seen this, but don't panic. If you could make it through the first one, the 30 days of torture, yeah, you definitely can handle it.
Wow.
So I didn't panic. I remember I wasn't so stressed or focused on Python or exercises. I just wanted to know the core fundamentals of what to use in a program language. And I think also for me, I think it was also different because the first one did kind of help me with those, knowing what to do, what to use, because they do shove it down in your throat, but you get to know what to do, what to use. And so I just got so familiar with those concepts, if statements, while loops, whatever that I need for my problem solving, that when it came to Python, all I had to do was just search the syntax. So I think the one thing that I could have maybe done differently was just relax a bit more. Relax, have fun. I think that's one thing that is essential, is to relax, calm yourself down, have fun. You don't have to go 100% through the whole boot camp to get it. You don't have to always pass every single thing. Just again, you don't have to compare yourself. Do not compare yourself. Like, that's one of the things that I realized, that if I compared myself to say, oh, no, this person did this whole thing in 2 days. Oh, yeah, no, I'm definitely not getting in. And I've only done like 3 levels or whatever. I realized that, I don't have to compare. I just have to be persistent. Continue doing what I'm doing. I failed the first time, keep on going. I failed the 10th time, keep on going. Just don't give up. Even if you fail the 50th time, keep on going. It doesn't matter. If you have time, you have time to keep going, and you can keep on trying. So don't compare myself. And that's one of the biggest things that might have hindered me a bit. And yeah, just persistency, and just keeping up with the grit, brute forcing my way through. So that's one of the things I would have done a bit different.
Sorry, Seti, without disturbing, I think actually as everyone was speaking, I suddenly went from barely having anything I wish I could have done better to having quite a few. I'll get through them quite quickly. So I definitely wish I had made more friends, because people kind of form their groups during bootcamp. I did form my group, but it was a very small group. And once you actually make it into the program, you need help. And sometimes you need help beyond that small circle that you formed. So I think I wish I could have taken that opportunity to connect with a lot more people, because it's easier then, because everybody's open to connecting. I also wish I had practiced more like timed problem solving. So sitting down and almost like writing a coding exam, where you need to solve things without having the option to Google, and without having like an extended period of time, because there was an exam for us. Don't know if that's going to be the case for this bootcamp. And I think that that's the part that I don't really think I nailed. If I hadn't made it into within code, I think I would have easily said it must be that. So I didn't get my marks, so I don't know actually how I did, but that was the part that I felt like, I'm not sure about this one. So definitely timed practice solving problems without Googling. And there are many platforms where it's almost like interview prep, like coding exams. So find some platforms. I know HackerRank is one of them. And then another thing is, when we were having our calls prior to bootcamp, somebody suggested that we take a course called Learning How to Learn on Coursera. I'm not sure if it's available on any platform, but that course is basically saying, what are the right ways to learn based on researched human psychology and stuff like that. So that has nothing. I think I'd suggest you do that in your extra time. That will basically teach you how to learn as a human being, how to learn anything, not specifically code, but I think it will just help you beyond just bootcamp, but with your coding career. And it's mostly helping me now on campus.
I like that you spoke about connecting, and obviously because you did the on-site bootcamp, that was much easier to do because you're on campus in person and you get to interact with everybody. But I just want to go back to Austin. You spoke a bit about Slack as one of the main platforms that you use during virtual bootcamp. Can you please talk us through just some of the other platforms that you use to make sure that you're connecting with your group, connecting with your bootcamp as a whole virtually?
I think virtually you don't really have many options. Most thing, like the reason you most likely we use Slack a lot was because it was it's easier to find everyone here, So, but there were some people that I guess like the groups as My bad. I keep forgetting names. Susie said, but yeah, you form groups. So there was some, even virtually, you still form these groups. Where you talk to people. There's this group of people that you tend to help more. And so sometimes it does go to WhatsApp, but that's on rare occasions. I think Slack is one of the biggest things that we used or that we use actually, that is very effective in doing almost everything. You somebody needs an explanation. If I need an explanation, I will huddle, hit a video call, a voice call, or just those kind of simple things. Another platform was also at the point, I think it was Google Meet, and yeah, for the video thing, like maybe if I wanted someone to show me something, if I wanted to show somebody, the implementation while explaining. But yeah, Slack was the biggest platform, especially if you're going to do it virtually. I suggest that you never close your Slack. And I know I know it sounds counterintuitive, but I suggest that you never close your Slack. Just leave your Slack open, even if it's just on your laptop and it's just the leave your Slack open so that when you do open your laptop, the first thing you do is get messages. Because one thing they will do is, yes, they will communicate with emails, but they will also try and communicate with you through Slack. And emails, they work, but Slack is more efficient. So I think that's one of the things, one of the tools that do help when you're doing it virtually is the communication is just just always be ready to have to be reached, or to be reachable rather.
So also I feel like it's like you should also focus on talking to people on campus, because I feel like I was more on like I just stayed on my seat. I never really tried really hard to like be communicating with the peers and whatnot. I tried to, because I felt like people already know each other, so let me just stay in my seat and try to get my work done. So I think that's also important. I expect when you're doing it, especially on campus, on site, because you need to like communicate to the peers, do that peer-to-peer learning going on, because it does really help. It does really help. And even after bootcamp, when you actually get into the program, like the peer-to-peer thing, it's the thing that we think code focuses on. And I believe that if I really did had to do something better during my bootcamp, it's that socializing more with the people at the bootcamp, and asking people around who know, because there are people who did know better, people who know had prior knowledge to programming and whatnot. So if maybe I did that better as well, communicate with people, ask for help, and not feel like I'm comparing myself, or like they better, they probably don't want to help me, or things like that. Yes.
Oh, yeah, so for me, it's quite the opposite actually of what Pilili is saying. I made a lot of friends. I'm a very social person, so yeah, most of the time I made a lot of friends, and because we hang out at the smoking area, so that's the place where you actually make a lot of friends, because a lot of people actually come there to chill. So I made a lot of friends there, and I think We Think Code considers the social aspect a lot, because I don't consider myself as a person who's technically strong, but I was able to make it into the bootcamp. I had a lot of connections, a lot of friends who were very good at code, people who had a lot of prior coding experience, but I don't see their faces today. So when it comes to We Think Code, you just have to be this complete package. You just have to focus on everything. You can't just be technically strong and expect to get in, because I saw some people who were, but they didn't make it. So I think the social aspect is what, I'm not sure, but I think it's the reason why I got here today, because I make it very easily, and it was very easy to get help. And when I get help, it's easy to help the next person, and it emphasizes what I just learned. So yeah, it was like the best experience for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I may add, sorry, Austin, it's when we say like socializing and stuff like that, we don't necessarily mean, make friends in the sense of like now people you can go out with and stuff, but like, building relationships, professional relationships with the people that you are going to be working with, and making sure that when you need to ask for help, that's not the first time you're talking to someone. And also, people can approach you, you're approachable, and people can come to you for help. So it's almost like breaking those barriers and maybe building the foundation for being able to work together on code like later on. So yeah, that's the thing. I think that's why it's important to make friends. And to your point, about how, you know, some people were very strong technically, but then you don't see them on campus. I also remember there was somebody who was sitting next to me who literally, like, I think they did the curriculum, the whole thing in the quarter of the time, but they would arrive on campus, like maybe be there for 3 hours, finish the whole task for the whole day, and they would leave. You know, and I don't know how much that did or did not contribute to the fact that they're not on campus right now, but technically they were flying, you know. But I don't think they quite grasped the part that you also have to, you know, interact with people, and you have to share what you know with people. And I'm not sure if that person was confronted with a situation where they stumbled upon something that they couldn't solve themselves, whether they would have been able to then rely on other people to get help. So I think that's why the social element is important. At some point you will need help. Will you be able to recognize that and reach out? And when you do know stuff, are you able to share that with other people?
Yeah.
I think that also goes with oh my god, I'm so sorry, Austin. It also goes with the teamwork, that we need to know how to work in a team. You know, that's one of the things that I realized in the tech industry, that you're always working with other people. So maybe that person who was really good at technical part of the within code, the bootcamp, with coding and everything, maybe they weren't able to, you know, work in a team. They weren't really like working with people, together with people during the bootcamp.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I
Or maybe
just,
they just didn't realize the importance of it.
Yeah, this is really important.
yeah, just to touch up on the thing what Bonga and Zipo said about you know, just not being technically focused. It goes back to the point that, you know, that was made earlier, that it's not it's not entirely about code. You know, yes, it's a coding camp. It's a code camp. Yes, you will be dealing with code every day. Yes, most likely. You know, but it is not just about the code. Don't just come there and focus on code and like, yes, I'm done. Surely I'm in. Within code will disappoint you. You will be cut and you will not believe it, because you finished everything in 2 days and you're like, yeah, I'm definitely sure I did it. You do your group project all alone, you submit, and you don't make it. And all because the fact that you didn't consider the other aspects, you know, the other aspects that were made right now, you know, the group, the teamwork, working in a team. Are you able to communicate? Are you able to ask for help? Are you able to help people? Because I know some people who unfortunately didn't make it in, who you couldn't ask for. They were good at code, but you can't ask for help for them because they could not explain what they were doing. You know, like, and you know, it's sad seeing someone who's so technically inclined, but they fail to make it in because just the fact that they choose to rather not be a part of the entire community. Because within code is a community as a whole. You know, you need to be able to ask for some help for someone. You know, and there was a time I remember someone from Cape Town slacked me and asked me for help on something. You know, it's you need to be able to be accessible. You need to be able to be teachable. You need to have the will to learn, and you know, those are the kind of things that matter. You need to have the grit to keep going. Don't hit a wall and say, I give up. You know, they used to tell us in the Seabird camp, when we'd ask for help from the mentors, they'd ask you, did you ask the next person next to you? You say yes, and say, just the next person next to you. Say yes. Say, okay, go from the start, ask each and every person, and then keep going. There are 3 floors here, so keep going up, done with the floor, go to the next floor. Ask each and every person. If they're not done, go to the next floor. And if none of those people can help you, then you can come to me, and then I'll help you.
And then you have to broadcast on Slack, and you have to go to Discord.
Exactly. You know, so at that point, you know, it's like you're going to find someone who's going to help you. So they teach you that the aspects of saying, learn to talk to people, ask for help. Someone, some way that knows how to do it. Let them teach you, and so you can teach the next person. You know, so that's one of the most important aspects of it.
Yeah, certainly. I feel like it also, like, you get comfortable with failing, because prior to coming to Rethink Code, failing is like this thing that you don't even want to see. You know, when you get here, you try things and they fail, and then you get used to failing. And then once you get used to failing, everything from there becomes easier, because sometimes you see a person, they're just gliding through like a program that was supposed to build a particular exercise maybe. And then when you look at yourself, you're struggling with that. And then when you look at them, you kind of like feel inferior in a way, like, hey, this person is doing this thing and it's very easy to him. How is it so difficult to me? And you're like, you don't even feel comfortable asking for help. But once you get through that point, then you're actually comfortable with failing and you're comfortable with not knowing something. And then you can go to another person and ask. I think that gives you a better chance of learning and a better chance of actually knowing. Because if you don't ask, you're just going to stay there and remain at that very same position, you know? So just getting used to failing and yeah.
Awesome. These are really wonderful insights. And I feel like this conversation could go on for a bit longer, but unfortunately, our time is coming to an end. But before we go, I really just want to get final, quick pieces of advice that you would give yourself. You know, if you, whatever advice you would have needed at that point in time, you know, I would like for each of you to just go around and give that piece of advice for our listeners right now who may resonate with some of your stories. Zizipo, let's start with you and we can go around.
Okay. I'll make my points very brief because I want to share quite a few. So the first one is get into the right headspace, because you're going to need the confidence, you're going to need the self-esteem, and you're going to need the grit through bootcamp and through the program to free up your time. Like Within Code will occupy all of your attention. Well, at least I think it requires all of your attention and all of your focus for you to keep up with the deliverables. So do free up your time. Talk to your parents, talk to your friends and anyone in your immediate surroundings so that they can understand that you're not going to be available during that time. The other one is, if you take the beginner route, if you can, because Within Code often has 2 tracks for bootcamp, the beginner route and the people who have experience. Unless you're really, really sure that you have experience, I think there's nothing to lose by taking the beginner route, because at least then the assumption is that you know nothing and you learn everything from scratch, you know. And so even if you do have experience, you'll just go through the stuff quicker. I don't think there's anything to lose. The other one, I'm almost done, is believe and apply good advice. Generally on campus, the staff, the technical mentors, they want you to win. They actually want you to get into the program. So most of the time, they really tell you useful stuff. Take it for what it is and actually do it. Like one of the best advices I got was actually from Ruan, and he said that read everything. Just don't skip stuff, because if you skip stuff, you'll get stuck because you missed something, and everything builds on top of it. Like I took that quite literally and it really helped. The last one is just don't compete. You know, in a peer, like Within Code, everybody can go at their own pace. So it's very easy to fall into the trap of you'll be sitting on your computer working and someone will announce that I just finished, I just submitted, you know, and I don't think they mean any harm. I just think they're excited and you're like, wow, I'm still in step 1 and this thing has 10 steps and someone just announced that they are on, you know, they just finished. And, you know, you have to really set your own pace and be comfortable with your own pace, because you can't compete with everyone. Other people have done Python before. Other people are just quicker at learning, or other people just happen to find it easy to understand this particular part of the thing. So you really have to be comfortable that as long as you understand what the deadlines are and you are within, you set your own mini deadlines and you are within that, that's fine. Just leave other people alone, because no, you're gonna have a really hard time. And I hope everybody applies or gets through bootcamp and makes it. Within Code is an amazing place, and I look forward to seeing everybody on campus.
Thanks, Zizipo. Peter?
But the best advice, one of the few advices that I could give bootcampers is that do not miss your first day. And just don't miss your first day. Believe in yourself. Once you make it through the program, believe that you are there for a purpose. You're there for a reason. You know, believe in yourself, be confident. And once you get to the bootcamp, know that you're just doing as much as you can. don't feel intimidated. Try and get your way through, like read everything, read a lot, watch a lot of YouTube videos, do like any other research that you feel like, any other resources that you feel would work, but just, keep on going, do not give up, that you're there for a reason. They chose you because, they do see potential in you, you worth it. And prepare yourself mentally that it's going to be difficult, and keep on pushing, and prepare technically. I'm sure it's going to help. Do your problem solving skills, all those things. I hope you guys are going to make it through, and stay confident.
Austin, speak to the people, especially the virtual boot campers who are stressed out.
I think first things first, have fun, relax, calm down, calm yourself down, have fun, relax. Second thing, do not compare yourself. It's not a race. It's not a race. Okay, no one is trying to beat you to the finish line. Don't compare yourself. You don't have to know everything. All right, it is okay to fail. It's okay to look at your thing, not do what you want it to do. It is perfectly fine. And mostly to the virtual ones. Time management, guys. Manage your time. Find a quiet space where you can be focused. It goes a long way. Do look at some basics of programming. And to everyone else who I hope to see here, please do not focus on the language. Please, worst mistake you'll make is focusing on the language. Syntax comes and goes. That's the one advice I can give you. And I will tell you syntax comes and goes. But if you know the fundamentals of what to use, you will do fine. You will be okay. So look at fundamentals. Don't panic. Don't compare yourself. Have enough time and have fun. It is amazing. I hope I see all the Joburgers in this year.
Wunga?
Yeah, it is very unfortunate that I don't remember the guy's name, but there was this guy. He actually saw that I was very stressed, and he came to me and he told me that you can only be inexperienced once. I'm going to repeat that again. You can only be inexperienced once, right? So you see something for the first time, you don't know it, right? But you see it for the second time, you can't be inexperienced twice, right? Because you already took the initiative to try and learn that. So according to me is just put in more time. Because if there's a person who sits right next to you who's putting 4 hours and you putting 2 hours, that person is going to accomplish in 1 week what you would have accomplished in 2 weeks. So Austin is quite right about time management. You just have to put in more. And yeah, I think that's going to get you through this.
Awesome. Thank you so much all for sharing your experiences. We're all really looking forward to welcoming the boot campers in May. And I think, are you all available to, because I'm sure on social media, once we post this, people are going to want to ask questions.
Okay.
Well, would you guys be available to sort of answer those questions and stuff on social media?
Certainly.
And enjoy the experience, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you heard it here. These students are available to answer any particular questions that you may have in the comments. But again, thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to welcoming you to our next podcast. Bye.
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 Yes.